Hello guys, welcome to Trade Journal. Today I just want to show you how I got into a few trades and just talk you through my processing and just my thinking when I get to some of these trades. The trades I'm going to be showing you actually retrospective. This is a trade I took on Tuesday, I believe. Okay, but in order to do so, let's just get started. Let me share my screen so that we can get cracking. There we go. I think it should be sharing now. All right, cool. So let's get started. So just to talk you through my process, my thinking, when I get to some of these trades, when I get into some of these trades, um, some of the first things I look at when I go into the chart and when I wake up every morning. All right. So first of all, I make sure my support and resistance, the lines are clearly defined. So I go through the monthly, the daily, and lastly, I also go through the 4 hour, just to make sure I've got a clear idea of, what the market's doing, what Bitcoin is doing, and what's going on in the space. And then next, I look for any trends. Are there any trends? Are we in an uptrend? Are we in a downtrend? Are we ranging today? This will give me an expectation as to what kind of trade, I should be looking out for. And then once I've gone through some of these two things, usually I have an idea as to whether I'm looking for shorts in that day or I'm looking for longs that day, or if I'm actually looking to trade that day at all. So this is also something you have to consider. Number three, POI. Some of you may know what this is. POI stands for point of interest. So in terms of my trading strategy, I like to highlight key areas that I'm going to look at to enter a specific trade, okay? And then after I've identified my points of interest, and of course we look for entry confirmations. I think this is probably where most traders fall apart, having a clear defined entry strategy that they can stick to, and they can use for a sustained period of time to see results. Most traders I come across, they start with an entry confirmation and then it changes from one day to the next day to the next day. One day it's market structure, the next day is indicators, the next day they just close their eyes and hope for the best. But you have to be consistent in order to be consistent. So make sure you have your clearly defined entry strategies that are used to enter each and every trade. And in cases where you miss an entry, what do you do then? There are, potential options you can use when you miss your entry to your trade, but you still believe that your trade is going to be a successful one. Okay. So I'm just going to go through a chart now. I'm going to show you, obviously, the trade I entered, going through each and every one of these points, just so you have a clear idea of, what exactly I am talking about. So let's see if we can find a chart over here. Trading view. Okay, so this is a chart. I've got white background, by the way, so just be careful it doesn't burn your eyes over time. Some people change their screen to dark, but just make sure you're happy with this. This is what I prefer, and this is what I use. Okay, so first of all, number one, I'm looking for my support and resistance. So what I usually do is I go all the way to the monthly and I get a big picture of what's going on in the market. Obviously, we've got Bitcoin in front of us here. And here we can see that obviously we had the bull run. It went up, it declined, it retraced, and it did one more pump and before it broke down. And we are currently in this position here, which we're not quite sure what exactly it's going to happen. Are we going to continue to go up? Is it going to be the start of another bull run? Or are we going to go down, and are we going to continue the bear market? Frankly, I don't care. Okay, and then traders, they tend not to care what direction, the overall market is going. They just look for opportunities within the market that they can capitalize on. So first things first, I look at my my daily supports. And here we go. No, not my daily supports, my monthly supports, because monthly obviously is a longer time span. And here we go. This is my monthly support line that I've drawn. I've just drawn this to give me an idea of, potential areas of interest. And then after I've drawn my monthly supports, I've then zoomed in to draw my daily supports in the area of price action that I'm interested in, as you can see with the blue lines. And then once I've drawn my daily support, as you can see, I'm starting to get a clearer picture of the market. Let me get rid of this for now. And then I also look at my 4-hour supports and resistance. So as you can see, the 4-hour support and resistance is way, way closer to the actual price action that's taking place. So right now I'm going to get rid of my daily because that's kind of irrelevant for where we are in the market. I'm also going to get rid of the monthly because that kind of irrelevant as well to where we are in the market. And we're going to zoom right in to look at the 4 hour. Okay, so again, change the time frame to 4 hour. And what we can see here in the 4 hour is we've got a more zoomed in, price action. It seems as though if we zoom out slightly, it seems as though after we put down a low, we've got a high, we've got a retracement, we've got a high. Are we going to have another retracement? We're not entirely sure. And as traders, we don't really care. We're just looking for our confirmations and our opportunities in the market. All right, so what we've got here is we seem to be at the top, of this region. And at this region, I'm looking to see whether we are establishing an uptrend or a downtrend. Okay, and what I do at this stage is I try and get an idea of the path. So if we look at, our price action from the 23rd of April, we can see that we put a high, we put a low, we put a high, we put a low, we put a high, we put a low, we put a high, we put a low. We can see that there is a clear downtrend, being followed at this moment in time. Let me just show you what I mean. So we've got the high there, and we've got this high, which is lower, and we've got this high, which is even lower, and then we've got this high, which I've treated as one, which is even lower. So here I can see that, we are in a downtrend. We're in a local downtrend. And so should I be looking for longs? I could be looking for longs, but I'm probably going to favor the shorts. I'm going to favor the shorts because I like to trade in the direction of the trend. Okay, so once I've established that, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to mark out my area and my point of interest. I can see that for the trade I'm actually going to show you, it was a trade that took place, I believe, on Tuesday, the 23rd of May. And it's a trade I entered. I actually missed the initial signal, but I re-entered it later. But as you can see, this married up quite nicely into a 4 hour resistance. This is a 4 hour resistance line. We can see that that line has been respected vaguely once, it's been respected twice, and potentially respected a third time as well. So I entered on the third time, and I'm just going to show you some of the things I went through, in order to enter this trade. So what have we done so far? Let's just recap. We have identified a clear support and resistance, starting from the monthly all the way to the 4 hour. We've identified a trend of the market. We can say that we're going on a downtrend. And then we've clearly identified our points of interest using the 4 hour resistance. Obviously, there's so many other ways you can clarify this, but a 4 hour, resistance line is what I've used in this specific trade. Now we're going to talk a bit more about my confirmation. Okay, so my confirmation for this trade was actually the fact that, as you can see on the chart, as we were approaching this resistance, as we bottomed out here, we were approaching this resistance. If we go on to the lower time frame, let's say the 15-minute time frame, you can see clearly here that there is some sort of bearish divergence going on with the price action as well as your volume indicator. So what you can see is that as price is going up, you can also see that the volume here is going down. It's not as clear. You can see as price goes up, volume goes down. This is called a bearish divergence. And also what I like to do is I like to use an indicator called Market Cipher. And Market Cipher has done me well over the years. And this is Market Cipher. This is the indicator underneath. And obviously it looks quite complicated. It looks like these series of oscillations that make no sense. But if you actually take the time to study this and study how it works, it is quite useful. So what we can see as well is that we can see on the 15-minute, actually if we see on the 12-minute, it's a little bit more clear, is that as price goes up, we can see that there is some sort of divergence with this blue wave. Now, what is the blue wave? This blue wave is a momentum oscillator. It tells you the momentum of the market. So we can see that as price is going up, the momentum is going down. And what this usually means is that there is about to be a price reversal, a downtrend, okay? So I actually wanted to enter the trade about here. That would have been the ideal point to enter the trade, but I missed the initial trade. And as a result, I didn't just walk away from the chart and think, oh, flip, I've missed the trade. You know, I'm going to wait for another one in a few days' time. What I did is I said, okay, where else can I enter this trade? Where can I, you know, look for another area of interest that price is likely to, you know, respect in order to enter this short? So what I did then is I waited to price to sort of form and see what price is going to do. And then in doing so, I used my Fibonacci tool, okay? And a Fibonacci tool is another very powerful tool that traders use in order to gauge what price is going to do. So I pulled out my Fib, okay? The price had made this high. I pulled out the Fib, and then I think I waited all the way to the point where I think we were around here. We were around this region. Let me just get rid of this so that, you know, it's clear for you to see exactly what I'm talking about. Now we were about this region, you know, when I wanted to enter the trade. So I waited, but I pulled out my Fib tool and I pulled it out to the low. Sorry, this has just been a bit fiddly at the moment. So let's see. So I put it out to this low here. Okay. So I let price establish a low, and then I said, all right, well, I'm going to wait until it reaches the golden ratio in order for me to re-enter the trade. So I set a sell order at the golden ratio, at the exact golden ratio, just to make sure, you know, that if price happens to wick, you know, back to this golden ratio, which it often tends to do, especially Bitcoin, I would be in a great position to enter this trade. All right. So this was going to be my entry at £27,300. And I was obviously looking to ride this trade down to the next support. And of course, my stop loss would have been above the previous high, just about there, maybe a little bit more room. Okay. So this was the trade I entered, and it played out quite nicely. And it played out really well. And just to, you know, prove that, you know, I'm not just making all this up. This is obviously something that is recorded in my Discord as well. This is something you can see if you look at my Discord, trade journal. You can see that my entry price was 27,331. And I'm not exactly sure where I exited. Well, yeah, it says it right there. So my exit price was 26,300. So we rode it down for about, you know, $1,000, and you know, we gained about 174% on that trade, which is a pretty decent amount, especially if you're trading, you know, with a huge, huge starting amount. That's gonna make a decent living, that trade. All right, so well, that's my trade, and that's it for just this current trade. And I'm obviously looking for more trades to enter, and as soon as I enter my next trade, I will be letting you guys know. That's exactly what we will be doing. So the purpose of this channel, of course, is just to show, you know, keep track of my trades. It's called Trade Journal for a reason. And just keep it on top, keep consistent, and make sure that you are developing the right habits as a trader. But that's pretty much it. With no further ado, that's it. Well, goodbye. See you next time.